What's going on, guys? It's Sam. I hope all of you are doing well. Today I want to catch you up on all of the latest iOS 13 rumors because while iOS 12 last year, I guess technically this year's update was pretty small, there weren't a ton of major features. There are going to be major changes in iOS 13, a lot that I've been waiting on for a really long time. So if you're excited for iOS 13, drop a like down below and of course, hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any future iOS 13 videos, but let's go ahead and jump in. Now what's interesting is that a lot of the features we're talking about for iOS 13, we know about them so far in advance because they were initially planned for iOS 12. Bloomberg reported on them, Axios as well, saying that Apple wanted to put these in iOS 12, but rather than coming out with another garbage iOS 11-like release where there's bugs everywhere, it doesn't work well for most people. Apple wanted to push some of those features off until 2019 with iOS 13 to focus on stability and performance in 2018, which is exactly what they did. So jumping into the biggest change we're hearing for iOS 13, I am beyond hyped for this already, and it's so many months away still. iOS 13 is going to be redesigning the home screen, or at least giving it a serious revamp. Now it's going to be especially noticeable on the new iPad, or really any iPad getting the iOS 13 update. So we're hearing major astronomical changes there, but on the iPhone, when asked, Mark Gurman on Twitter replied, yes, the home screen redesign will also be present on the iPhone, just to a lesser extent. Now, of course, we all want to know what it's going to look like, right? I definitely want to know what it's going to look like, but unfortunately, we don't know yet. And there's been some incredible concepts that I'll put up on screen as I'm talking that have really tried to envision or visualize what the iOS 13 redesign home screen could look like. Some of them feature these little blocks or like widgets on the home screen, and others go in a completely different direction. But at the end of the day, one thing is for sure, we are going to see the home screen redesign we've been waiting for, which we need because the home screen has not changed since 2007 when we were still calling it iPhone OS on the original iPhone. Sure, the dock looks a little bit different, and of course the icons look different as well, but as far as the actual structure of the home screen, it has remained the same for over 10 years, which is pretty insane. So it's time for an upgrade, and I'm super excited to hear that that is going to be one of the biggest changes for iOS 13. All right, next up after the home screen redesign, we got to talk about the Photos app, because the Photos app also has received marginal improvements every single year, and this coming year with iOS 13, it's going to see a pretty crazy change. Apple is reportedly working on this insane algorithm that will be able to dynamically suggest what you want to view when. This new algorithm could be really cool. Let's say you're texting someone a photo or you mention sending someone a photo in messages. Maybe the algorithm could automatically suggest some photo that you want to view. Maybe it could suggest exactly what you were just typing about based on the context of what you were writing. Maybe you open up the Photos app and it knows somehow what kind of a photo you're in the mood to look at or what kind of a trip you want to look back at. iPhones definitely have the power to do this kind of AI computing algorithm, but we'll just have to see how it plays out. Next up, I have no idea how this feature leaked out because it is so specific that it's like the leaker literally was like looking at a device with it on there. But apparently in the Mail app for iOS 13, you'll be able to mute specific threads. And I've mocked up how this could look, maybe how you'd just be able to swipe over and then mute a specific thread. There's no way to do that now in the built-in Mail app, so I assume that's coming to both iPhone and iPad. Again, cool feature. I'm definitely down for this, and I think it's a good idea. I just don't know how this, out of all things, would be the feature to leak out because it's so specific to the Mail app. But either way, good news. All right, I also want to show you guys some of the emoji candidates for iOS 13 because there are some really fun ones here. First up, Sloth emoji confirmed. Every year, Apple just takes my heart, gives it a little pat, and says, here's another really cool animal emoji that you're gonna say, this looks cool in a video, and then never actually use. And the same thing is gonna be true this year with sloth emojis. So that's really cool. I just love the mock-up here. Like, I don't know, are sloths even friendly creatures? Like, is this one of those things where as a kid, it's always portrayed as like a really nice animal, and then when you grow up, you get to pet one, and then it attacks you? Only one way to find out. Guess I'm gonna have to pet a sloth. Anyway, there are gonna be some other really cool ones as well. I know Apple for a long time now has been proposing some accessibility emojis, so like an individual in a wheelchair would be a proposed emoji for iOS 13. You've got support probably coming for mixed race couples, and then you've got these really fun, colorful dots and squares as well. There's also some other household items like an axe. I carry my axe, my supreme axe around everywhere. A razor, some kind of a teapot. No, that's a Hindu temple. I don't know. I feel like people are starting to get burned out on new emojis. It was really exciting back in the day with iOS 8 when they were first adding a ton, and now I feel like it's sort of slowed down. So let me know your thoughts. Are you still interested in emojis? Do you care at all about Sloth? Now, everything that I've talked about so far is going to be for all devices as of right now on iOS 13, but there are going to be some iPad-specific upgrades that I'm sure will partially leak over to the iPhone, so definitely still pay attention if you don't own an iPad. But as far as more iPad features go, one of the biggest problems with the iPad right now is a poor file management system. The Files app is pretty much a joke. In my iPad review, I said that was one of the weakest parts of the iPad right now. So if Apple can revamp that, it's going to be huge. Next up, being able to run two versions of the same app side by side. So let's say you wanted to work on 2 pages documents at the same time. On the Mac, you can open like pretty much any number of windows from any app that you have on your computer because it's super capable. On the iPad, generally you can only open one instance of the app in split screen mode. But any app you want, 2 Pixelmator documents side by side, 2 Photoshop documents side by side. This is so necessary. I feel like there should again be not a cap for how many versions or instances of the same app you can run because that's so important again to make the iPad a viable computer replacement. Going along with that, you'll also be able to open tabs of windows in applications. So just like in Safari on the iPad, you can open a ton of different windows inside of the same application. Maybe in addition to running 2 versions of the same app side by side, you'll also be able to open tabs of documents. Finally, I almost forgot to mention this one, but the Apple Pencil will be getting some upgrades with iOS 13 on the iPad as well. So iOS 13, the hype is building. That's everything we know now. Get excited. If you're wondering when this is going to come out, when you can get your hands on this, well, for everybody, if Apple follows what they've done for like the past 1,000 years, it's going to come out sometime middle of September. Maybe early, maybe late, but definitely sometime in September of 2019. But for developers and possibly public beta testers as well, you'll be able to get your hands on beta 1 in June of 2019. So either way, many, many months away, more than 6 to 9 months away at the time of recording this video. But that is the latest info. If you enjoyed it, if it helped you out, if you learned something new, drop a like down below. Always helps me out. I really appreciate it. And hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any future iOS 13 videos. That's all I've got for you in this video. I've been Sam. I hope you're doing great, and I'll see you guys later.